Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I'm also a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over some of the indications that an anxious, preoccupied individual is becoming more secure. And this is very important to understand that any attachment style that is becoming more secure tends to have a higher probability of having a more healthy relationship, which is why I think this type of information is very important. So one of the first characteristics and indications that you will see an anxious, preoccupied individual show up when they're becoming more secure is they are actually taking responsibility for the relationship issues. A healing anxious individual admits their role in disagreements and misunderstandings. They understand that taking accountability does not mean losing power in the relationship, and it does not mean that you will become abandoned. It does not mean that you are less than. It does not mean that you are going to get the smaller end of the stick. It just means that, in fact, the relationship is becoming more secure, that, in fact, your partner will be more comfortable with perceiving your needs instead of misinterpreting them, which is where the fear comes from. The next one is open communication. An anxious individual is becoming more comfortable with sharing their needs, expressing their feelings directly without feeling like they need to attack their partner in a way where they have to put walls up and they feel like they're not going to be treated properly. They feel like they're going to be abandoned. They are not preemptively deciding their partner is going to misunderstand them. Or even if their partner does misunderstand them, it doesn't necessarily make them feel that they are not respectable, that they are not deserving of being loved. Rather, they are able to remain calm regardless of how their partner is in fact communicating, regardless of if their partner is available to their emotions or not. They become less defensive and are able to express their concerns respectfully and comfortably. They're discussing their unmet needs while expecting that they're going to be heard, even if they are not. They still believe that that's the healthy perspective. So if their partner does not hear them out, it makes them recognize that, okay, it's not a me issue, it's a my partner issue. That doesn't mean my partner is a bad person, but it doesn't mean that I'm flawed. I communicated my needs properly. It's up to them now if they want to pick that up, and it's up to them now if they want to take that on. And so they don't necessarily expect that the issue needs to be fixed right away necessarily, because they know they did their part. That is the open communication aspect where you can start seeing an anxious, preoccupied individual is in fact becoming more secure, okay? The next one is that an anxious, preoccupied individual is having less reactions towards their triggers, reduced triggers, right? A sign of healing could be that they are less triggered by the absence of phone calls or text messages or moments of absence in general. Perhaps they really felt that they need some sort of reassurance with a good night text every night. Now they're recognizing it doesn't necessarily have to be reassurance oriented. Of course, they would like a good night text, but they also recognize that without it does not necessarily mean the relationship has flaws. It doesn't mean that the relationship has holes in it. It doesn't mean that their partner is up to something or doing something nefarious. It means that they just forgot, or that their partner may not see this as important for whatever reason. Now, that doesn't mean you have to accept it, but it means that they are comfortable having a communication. They're understanding that it doesn't mean the relationship is over, okay? And you can start seeing that this often occurs and is more helpful if their partner, whoever their partner is more consistent with meeting their anxious partner's needs. And that really helps an anxious individual to become more secure, by the way. It's just something to keep in mind. The last one is that the anxious, preoccupied individual is actually much more comfortable forgiving their partner. You might actually start seeing that they're a little bit more lenient towards forgiveness. And the reason why this was always hard for anxious, preoccupied individuals is not because they are not forgiving people. So that's not what I'm saying. In fact, that's actually what they're afraid of. They know that they can be very, very forgiving. And so they're afraid that their partner will take advantage of them or won't take their needs seriously if they keep continuously forgiving their partner. So they overcompensate by being afraid to forgive or holding things on longer than they should, or keep bringing up the same issue over and over because they feel like their partner forgot or doesn't care. And they don't want to put their partner or cast their partner in that light. And so they may struggle with that. But as they become more secure, they realize that no matter how whatever they behave like, it's not going to change the outcome, not too much. And so they recognize, regardless, I want to forgive a person just because I want to. I'm going to let go of that outcome, but I want to forgive them because it makes me feel like I've done my part in this relationship. It reflects their understanding that everybody makes mistakes, and it helps them free themselves of the burden of anxiety, okay? So this is very important to recognize, and I encourage a partner of an anxious individual to also become secure so that you guys can both be secure together, okay? I hope this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.